What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Almighty Beast Mode, home of sports reaction. So today, we're going to be reacting to athletes who got caught cheating. So what I want to do today is I want to do a trash or pass. Whether the plan was trash, and we're going to throw the whole plan in the trash, or we're going to let the plan pass. To be honest, sometimes when the plan is really good, when the strategy was real good, sometimes I kind of wish they got away with it. So today we're going to be going over, today I don't know how many they're going to show us, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be pretty funny. Let's get straight into this, man. Like, comment, subscribe. For anybody who's already a part of the community, I appreciate you. You know I do. Let's get straight into this, man.
Ever since the ancient Greeks started the Olympics, human nature always found a way to cheat in sports. When large amounts of money got in the picture in the 20th century, the temptation was too big, and sports cheating became a daily operation around the world. Here are the 10 athletes who thought they would get away with fraud, but got caught and humiliated instead.
The 10 athletes.
Michael Pineda, Pine Tar. Michael Pineda is a Dominican pitcher that plays for the Minnesota Twins in the MLB. When he was a member of the New York Yankees in 2014, he did something very similar to what Dwight Howard was doing in the NBA. And just like Dwight, it wasn't a problem that he did it, but how obvious he'd been about it. Pineda used pine tar during his time on the mound, which was illegal, but it wasn't severely penalized.
I've seen this.
By applying pine tar, the baseball would have a better grip and not lose any of its speed.
He put it on his neck.
He used pine tar, but during a game against the Red Sox in 2014, when it was especially cold and windy on the Fenway Park, Pineda decided he would need a lot of pine to be able to throw properly. So he applied a lot of it on his neck.
Whoa.
From there to the baseball. It was clear as day what he was doing, and the officials immediately threw him out. Pineda got a 10-game suspension for doing something everybody else did too, but they were a little bit smarter in not making it blatantly obvious.
Yeah, why would you put it on your neck?
Corked bat.
That's the trash. Throw the whole strategy in the trash. That's horrible. Why would he put it on his neck?
Baseball. A corked bat is a specially modified baseball bat that has been filled with cork or other less dense substances to make the bat lighter. A lighter bat gives a hitter a quicker swing and may improve the hitter's timing. In 2003, the famed right fielder Sammy Sosa played a game for his Chicago Cubs against Tampa Bay, and he shattered his bat in the first inning. No harm done. It happens all the time. The player just gets another bat and the game resumes. However, the plate umpire noticed pieces of cork among the shards of the shattered bat, and he rightfully ejected Sosa from the game. Sosa acknowledged ownership of the bat, explaining that he occasionally used it for batting practice and for home run exhibitions to entertain his fans. Major League Baseball then confiscated and tested 76 of Sosa's other bats after his ejection, and all were found to be clean, with no cork. However, the crime had been committed, and Sosa still had to serve a 7-game suspension.
Oh, no.
Antonio Margarito loaded gloves. For some boxers who hit really hard, they say that they have dynamite in their hands. In the case of Mexican boxer Antonio Margarito, well, he had plaster on his hands.
Whoa!
Margarito was supposed to fight Shane Mosley for the WBA welterweight title in 2009.
Plaster?
Mosley's trainer noticed that Margarito's hands were wrapped strangely and asked for the wrap tape to be examined. The coach had a great eye and was right to be suspicious. But Margarito's hand wraps were cut off. The match officials found small knuckle pads made of plaster, which is used to make casts. The purpose of the plaster was to add more damage to Margarito's opponent. The Mexican boxer said he was unaware of the pads, and his coach took all the blame himself. Margarito was forced to rewrap his hands, and would go on to lose the fight and the title to Mosley.
Oh
After the
my
match,
God!
He and his coach were suspended for...
So you're gonna cheat, get caught, they find out that you were cheating, you go to fight the guy anyways, and you lose. Trash! Throw the whole thing in the trash.
Boxing in the United States for 1 year. Rosie Ruiz faking victory. Chris Rock once joked about the marathon being too long, saying that 28 miles is a long drive, let alone having to run the whole thing. Rosie Ruiz thought so too, but unlike Chris Rock, she wanted to win the 1980 Boston Marathon. So what do you do if you want to win the longest racing event, but don't actually want to run 28 miles? Do it faster than everyone else? Well, you just start running close to the finish line and hope nobody notices. Rosie finished the 1980 Boston Marathon.
Because she looks tired too, she's running like this.
With the official time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 56 seconds, which was the third fastest time ever run by a woman. Even though the victory time of an unknown runner raised some suspicions.
We're gonna let this one pass.
And got celebrated like a true
We're gonna let this pass for acting skills.
days.
The only bad part about her plan is that I wouldn't go for the win. You know what I mean? I feel like that draw too much attention. I'd go for like 3rd place or something. You know, so I'd still place, but I'm not drawing too much heat to myself. You know, she wanted to go for gold.
Came out and said that they saw Ruiz join the race about half a mile from the finish line because she was never seen by the other runners and didn't appear in any photographs or footage of the race. It became apparent that she cheated. They stripped the title away from Ruiz, but she didn't receive any further penalties. Diego Maradona, Hand of God. 2 of the most famous goals Maradona ever scored happened in the same game, during the 1986 World Cup quarterfinals against England. The second one was an absolute stunner, when Diego took the ball in his own half and dribbled past every defender and the goalkeeper. It was a genius goal from the best player in the world. The first goal he scored in that game was also genius, but in an entirely different way. As the deflected ball was traveling through the air and into the hands of England's goalkeeper, the 5'5" Maradona somehow got it first and sent it to the back of the net. While the English players protested, the ref didn't see that Maradona had flicked the ball with his hand, which ultimately helped Argentina win the game and proceed to the semifinals. During the post-game interview, Diego cheekily said that if it really was a handball, it was a hand of God. Lance Armstrong, steroids.
We'll let that one pass. We'll let it pass.
Water. And in cycling, it's used to describe riders who are cycling clean and not using PEDs. Lance Armstrong was cycling on Pane Aqua for the first part of the 90s.
On what?
He was a talented rider without a doubt, but he wasn't achieving extraordinary results. After he successfully won his battle with testicular cancer, Lance returned to cycling in 1998, but he didn't use bread and water for fuel anymore. He had something much more potent. Lance started using erythropoietin, or EPO in short. EPO stimulates the production of red blood cells and enables athletes who inject it to have more oxygen in their blood. More oxygen increases endurance, which is crucial for a sport like cycling. Lance would go on to win 7 Tour de France's in a row, which is the hardest and most prestigious multiple-stage bicycle race in the world. Even though the insiders knew he was cheating, Lance never failed a drug test, which he gladly repeated at almost every interview. He had the best doctors who instructed him.
Wait, he never failed the drug test. How did that work?
PEDs, fast positive results, avoid being detected, or avoid being tested in the first place. However, in 2013, after a massive investigation from USADA and testimony of many witnesses, including his former teammates, Armstrong was finally forced to admit he was doping throughout his career. Dwight Howard. Stick 'em. Dwight Howard is now a role player whose NBA job is primarily to play defense and get rebound. But some 5 to 10 years ago, he had a more prominent role in higher usage rate. Even though he was never a good post player, Howard would still demand the ball down low to make it easier for himself to catch entry and lob passes. Dwight used Stick-'em. Stick-'em is an adhesive spray that enhances grip, which is pretty useful if you're trying to catch balls, and it's illegal in both the NBA and the NFL. Dwight has been using it for years, but in the game between his Rockets and the Hawks in 2016...
They're on to us, Dwight. They're on to us.
The other players noticed something was weird with...
They're on to us, Dwight.
Run, bitch! Run!
Ball. The refs intervened, paused the game.
I mean, how can they possibly know that you're using it?
The can was visible, treacherously revealing why the ball was so sticky all of a sudden.
Okay, no. So I was gonna let this pass, right? Pretty smart, because like, how could they possibly know? The boy left the cans out. Trash.
Stopped using the
Throw
spray.
the whole strategy in the trash.
Nor Howard was penalized for the use of it. Tanya Harding, Hitman. Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan are 2 of the best American figure skaters in the late 80s and early 90s. One day before the U.S. National Championship, which also served as the qualifiers for the 1994 Olympics, Nancy Kerrigan was brutally attacked after practice in Detroit. A man jumped at Kerrigan as she was heading to the locker room and beat her up with a club, attempting to break her legs. Thankfully, she only suffered deep bruises and escaped with no broken bones. But still, she was unable to participate in the U.S. Nationals, where Harding took the first place and a guaranteed spot in the Olympics. After an FBI investigation into Harding's bodyguard Sean Eckhart and ex-husband Jeff Gillooly, Eckhart buckled, admitted his involvement in the incident and organization of the attack with the attacker Shane Stan. Harding denied her...
What? That's not cheating. That's attempted murder.
Testified against her just a few weeks.
This should be in a different countdown.
Scandal. there was not sufficient evidence of Harding's involvement, and she was allowed to compete in the Olympics, together with Kerrigan, who was also granted a spot. In the most anticipated skating event ever in the United States, Kerrigan took home the silver medal, while Harding finished 8th due to skate malfunction.
That's what you get.
Returned. The case
That's what you
continued,
get.
and with testimonies mounting against her, Harding officially pleaded guilty. She received 3 years probation, a $160,000 fine, and
Wow.
banned from skating forever.
For attempted
Mike
murder.
Tyson, ear biting. Even though his first and most famous loss came against Buster Douglas in 1991, that happened because Mike was.
This strategy was trash too. This was
When
trash.
Tyson first fought Holyfield in 1996, Evander showed the world that Tyson could be beaten and pretty much dominated throughout the fight. Tyson immediately asked for a rematch, and he got it simply because he was the biggest star in boxing at the time. When the rematch started, Mike simply didn't have it in him, and he knew it. He didn't want to be in that ring on that night, and everything he threw, Holyfield had an answer for. Tyson couldn't exert dominance over his opponent. Plus, he only had the stamina for about half the fight. Knowing that he would lose in the later rounds, pissed at himself and the world due to a debauched lifestyle he was leading, Mike couldn't take it anymore. He was full of hate, and he wanted to express it, but he couldn't do it with his hands like he usually did with all of his opponents. So, Tyson took a bite out of Evander's ear and bit off a piece of it. He was immediately disqualified, which was the beginning of the end of his storied career. Tom Brady, Deflategate. In 2006,
Okay, I didn't really
the NFL
understand
changed
this
the
one while
rule
it
where
was
the
going
home
on.
team provided all the footballs for the game, and instead enabled the away team to use their own footballs on offense. In 2014, Tom Brady used this rule to his advantage in the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts and his quarterback rival, Andrew Luck. While Luck was throwing balls that were per NFL rules inflated between 12.5 to 13.5 pounds per square inch, Tom Brady deliberately ordered for his footballs to be slightly deflated. By removing air from a football, it makes it easier to grip, throw, and catch, and thus gives an unfair advantage for the team that's using deflated balls on offense. After Brady threw an interception to Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson, the linebacker gave it to the equipment manager to keep as a souvenir. And that's when the trouble began. The Colts equipment manager thought there was something weird with the ball and notified the league officials. After examination, it was determined that 11 of the 12 balls the Patriots were using in the game were deflated and averaging around 1.5 pounds of pressure less than the minimum amount. The balls got reinflated at halftime, and the Patriots turned their 10-point halftime lead into a 45-7 victory and advanced to the Super Bowl.
Damn!
Although the game was a blowout, even with all the balls equally inflated, the
You gotta let it
Deflategate became a
pass.
national.
We gotta let it pass. We gotta let that one pass. We gotta let it pass because we gotta let it pass. Wow.
Handle, and Brady got suspended for 4 games, while the Patriots were fined with millions of dollars.
We're just gonna inflate
and
the balls
forfeited
and
2 future
they'll lose
draft
that way. Didn't happen. Alright, so that's gonna do it for today, guys. So which one was your favorite? I'm gonna have to say my favorite was the marathon. She just said, forget all this running. I'm gonna run the last 10 feet. That was my favorite one. Let me know down in the comments any other video that you guys would like to see me react to. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.